The eros myth advanced by Socrates in Plato's Symposium was the latest in a long line fashioned by the myth-making Greeks. Hesiod, the Greek poet and historian of mythology who lived around 700 BC, recounts in his Theogony, or Origin of the Gods, that in initial incarnations, Eros shares equal billing with the other gods present at the world's birth. Right on the heels of the gods Chaos, air, and Gaia, earth, Eros emerged from the primordial darkness and joined them as the first deathless ones who hold the peaks of snowy Olympus. Eros was the force behind the birth of all things in the universe. Eventually, Eros came to be opposed to Eris, the god of strife. While Eros strove to give birth to all the entities that would fill out the canvas of the universe, Eris was intent on undoing all his creations. In Eros myths that followed, Eros's nature and objectives became murkier. Eros himself could be the source of such strife, undoing at times his own creations, so Eris was dispensed with. Eros was soon transformed from an amorphous primordial deity to one with distinctive features. He became the fairest of the deathless gods, and the most beguiling, the one who unnerves the limbs and overcomes the mind and wise counsels of all gods and all men within them. Eros now was the god who could engender uncontrollable lust, passion, desire, sensual longing. Even the most sage were not immune to his powers. In these accounts, Eros was no longer one of the original gods, but one of the erotes, or love gods, each of whom possessed the power to provoke desire in humans, and in some cases other gods, at whim. Among the erotes, Eros is first among equals, the fairest and most powerful. Various accounts depict Eros sometimes as a child, sometimes an adolescent, sometimes a man. Sometimes he has brothers, and at others he is an only child. Always, he is at the center of desire matches, some for the good, some even leading to celestial sex romps among gods, but many destructive in bent, bringing about someone's undoing. Finally, Eros comes to be the son of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of beauty, love, and desire. Depending on the account, Eros was the scion of a range of fathers, but Aphrodite was always his mother, and the only one who had some sway over him. Many of his acts that stoked the passions of people and gods were at his mother's bidding. In all latter accounts, Eros is charming and beautiful, crafty and manipulative, capricious and mischievous, at times cunning and cruel. Always he can prod the most sensible into doing the insensible, with no motivation, typically, other than because he can, and because he derives great pleasure from doing so. In one account, Eros isn't immune to his own powers. At the behest of Aphrodite, who is jealous of a beautiful mortal named Psyche, Eros shot an arrow into her heart, prompting her to fall in love with the ugliest mortal alive. But Eros was struck partially by his own arrow, and he himself became enwrapped by Psyche's beauty and consumed by desire for her. In the one and only time that he defies his mother, against her express command he whisked Psyche off to a hideaway before any harm could befall her. After a harrowing romance, Zeus, the ruler of gods and men, allowed them to marry, and Psyche herself became a goddess. Eros and true arete. Eros's origins as limned by Plato's Socrates are a marked variation on the traditional versions of Eros myths, though Plato does give the god an aura of familiarity, the better to couch some radically different notions of the god's objectives and capacities. Socrates suggested that Eros did not directly intervene in the affairs of man, but was an intermediary. Although Eros did indeed plant within all humans the seeds of sensual desire, or eros with a small e, by Socrates' account that's where his intervention ended. After that, it was up to humans to determine how to nurture or satisfy this eros bequeathed to us. As Socrates says, eros is the source of our desire to love each other. But humans then determine how to act on that source. Socrates dispelled the idea that Eros controlled human will, able to subvert or pervert it to his whim. Rather, each can choose to spend his life sating Eros in base ways, or foster it in ways that lead to higher forms of self and social goods. Socrates relates that on Aphrodite's birthday, the beggarly god Poverty took advantage of plenty in his inebriated state, as he lay in Zeus's garden, to make a baby with him. The baby conceived was Eros, whom Socrates characterizes as naturally a lover of the beautiful, and no seeker after wisdom, for he is wise already.